30. Hey, our Humane May fundraiser continues. Every day we start the show with this for the month of May. We're trying to raise $10,000 in the month of May for the Humane Society of Louisiana, literally saving animals' lives. Animals that are suffering, saving their lives, making their lives a lot better. Cats, dogs, horses, goats, all kind of animals. Any animal you could imagine that's in stress, in need of help, that humans are responsible for that animal. We're not that great at that in Louisiana in some cases. I mean, we have wonderful pet owners. I'm not saying that. But we have a lot of people that get a dog as like an alarm system. It's not really part of the family, just sort of, it's like a TV set kind of thing. Vet visits every month. Got to have your dog on heartworm medicine every month. My dog doesn't have heartworms. That's the point of the medicine. There's mosquitoes. The mosquitoes biting your dog. That's how they get heartworms and they die from it. Got to have your dog on heartworm medicine every month. Got to visit the vet at least once a year, ideally twice a year, if not more. No, it's a responsibility being a pet owner. Us pet owners know it. A lot of people don't seem to get it. My cats and dogs, spayed, neutered, whatever is the case. So to catch up, Jeff Dorson and the Humane Society of Louisiana pick up that slack. And the only way they can do it is by you and me, us donating to these guys. HumaneLA.org is how you donate. You'll see me at the top of the page laying down with Blue Boy. Click on that and donate. And please donate generously. $10, $20, $50, whatever you can afford. $100, $200, whatever you're comfortable with. HumaneLA.org. Trying to raise $10,000 by the end of the month, really the end of next week. We need your help. Please donate. Day 5, jailbreak, 6 still at large. 4 down, 6 to go. As Governor Jeff Landry said, there's a bounty out for these guys. There is. Kind of goes up like every day, too. An Orleans Parish jail maintenance worker arrested, accused of helping the inmates escaped. Sterling Williams, 33 years old. 10 counts of... I'm trying to think what the word they used. I wrote it down, but I didn't write it down slow enough. 10 counts of principal to simple escape. And then 1 count of malfeasance in office. I'm guessing the 10 counts for each of the 10 escapees. And then just 1 count of malfeasance. You only can be inept and, doing a crappy job like in 1 time per incident, right? I guess. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. The city council questioning Sheriff Susan Hudson. She was there at the council chambers. There were procedural failures and missed notifications. No, she was questioned about the escape in general. How did 10 inmates escape? And then the notification delays in notifying the NOPD and notifying the public. There were procedural failures and missed notifications, taking full accountability. I don't know if I actually saw where Susan Hudson said, "I'm sorry, I apologize," but there were numerous news stories on this and some saying Susan Hudson apologized, but I didn't read that quote. But I'm not saying it didn't happen. Hopefully it did. And I mean, she seems to be getting it now. It's, her responsibility. She's the jailer. She's the sheriff. I don't think for too much longer. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Audubon Gutters on my house. I talk the talk. I walk the walk. Back in October, Audubon Gutters installed gutters with the Leaf Guard system on my house. So I'll never have to hire someone to get on a ladder and clean leaves out of my gutters ever again. Audubon Gutters, New Orleans owned for nearly 35 years. All they do are gutters. These are the folks you call. They don't do windows or siding or construction or roof work. All they do is gutters. They happen to be the Gulf South's largest, most experienced gutter installation company, home or business. If you need gutters, audubongutters.com, audubongutters.com. Oh no, Norm from Cheers, actor George Wendt passed away, 76 years old. Not cool. Boy, avoid I-10 in Carrollton. Avoid that area on Carrollton. Avoid that area on I-10. You're like, Corey, how do I avoid I-10 at Carrollton? I guess you're going to be able to go through, over it on the I-10. You definitely can do that. I mean, avoid like exiting at Carrollton off the I-10, like right past the cemeteries, kind of coming from Metairie, or exiting at the airline Carrollton exit off of I-10 coming from the city. That little shoot off to the right past the jail where the 10 inmates escaped. Right past there on the right. Yeah, I would avoid that exit. From what I understand, the airline exit is closed because the garbage truck on the Carrollton Avenue entrance ramp to I-10 West, like going to Metairie, getting on I-10 at Carrollton and going towards Metairie, the truck tipped over and it's leaning against one of the supports of the airline highway exit ramp. So lots of, problems as far as that area. So I was in and around that area today. I hooked a U-turn and got the hell out of Dodge because it's just a mess. It's a mess. And here's the worst part. The state says that truck's going to be stuck there for like a week. I think they're worried about like you pull the truck out and then the bridge above could collapse. I just don't see that happening. It's like erector set, 1950s, like overbuilt. It's overbuilt. But I mean, I'm not trying to like get a 2x4 and jam it up against there and then pull the truck out. Essentially do that. Get some kind of, steel girder and jam it in there and get it going now. Like get it going. Get a few. You got to weld them together. Do whatever you got to do. Get it going. This is a major intersection in New Orleans, like as busy as it gets. It's I-10 at Clearview. It's I-10 at Causeway in Metairie. It's like that. Vets at Clearview, Vets at Causeway. This is I-10 at Carrollton Avenue in New Orleans. No, and it's a mess right now. Avoid that area. Getting on the interstate, getting off the interstate, traversing Carrollton. I guess, head towards Doc Francis Parkway, Broad Street, kind of do that kind of gimmick. Maybe head into Metairie, Causeway, and cut back over. If you have to do that, like going to Lakeview, maybe you go to Causeway, Doc Francis Parkway, Broad Street. You're going to have to, I think, go around the Carrollton area if you're trying to go north and south in the city. And as far as I-10, just stay on the I-10. Don't exit there. Exit after, come back, exit before. If you got to enter that area, because it's a mess. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Dan joins us next. Lots of opinions. We'll break down day 5, jailbreak, and so much more. Lots of topics on this Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. Hey, get to Katie's tonight. Always some good stuff at Katie's. And I love when Scott Craig joins me on the program and's like 14 speckled trout. We've got 17 soft shell crab. We've got 11 flounder fillets. As New Orleans as it gets, Iberville at Telemachus, a mid-city mainstay tonight for dinner, Katie's.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Thanks so much for joining us. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. Phone lines are open at 766-9480. Every Tuesday around 4:20, it's The Real Deal with Dan Reel, former regional president over at Caesars Old Harrah's, now retired. You wouldn't have made it to retirement, Dan, if you ran the casino like the sheriff's running the jail, man. They would have blown you out decades ago.
Yeah, I don't think I would have made it to lunch.
Nope.
So it's pretty amazing. You know what's unique is you and I don't really talk throughout the week. And the city is pretty incredible for a lot of great reasons. But there is absolutely no shortage of topics in the world we're living in here, that's for sure.
No, I mentioned that before to Rafael Goyeneche, Ed Michel, kind of half serious, half joking. We'll always have a job. I'll always have a job. This is It's like New York, Chicago, LA news cycle here. Yeah, it's endless. How you doing, Dan? Everything going well?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. It's everything's going smooth.
Day 5 of jailbreak, 6 still at large. Dan, this is a national and international story. This is beyond just, Susan Hudson's incompetence and maybe not fit for the job and all these problems at the jail. This is like power outage at the Super Bowl, or people even unfairly judge that terrorist attack, which could have happened anywhere, any place. Like it's a New Orleans dysfunction. So you throw in hurricanes, BP, lots of like black eyes, not a lot of positive. This isn't positive, and it's literally national and international. This story.
Well, it should be. I mean, this is crazy. It's like a TV show, but unfortunately, I wish there was more of our community that's surprised at something like this. The people that I've been talking to, everybody wants to talk about the story. It's pretty incredible. The lack of, leadership and oversight is incredible. But my parents in Chicago seemed more concerned and surprised than some of my neighbors. So that says a lot about some of the things that we've been talking about lately, particularly the justice system.
Well, that's also telling just how we're like numb to dysfunction around here. I always say we're a dirty city and a filthy city because it's a bad habit. A lot of people do it, and then we get numb to it. We get numb to the graffiti, the neutral grounds full of weeds, blight, broken infrastructure. No, I mean, shootings, murder, even a jailbreak. No, I mean, your parents are in Chicago. The South Side's got lots of problems. But this shocks them even, and a lot of New Orleanians are just like par for the course kind of thing. Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels like it's going down, and you can't help but laugh at a few things during times like this. There was this first time I've ever seen the site on X called the Sadvocate. I don't know if you follow that.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I really had to laugh at one of the headlines. It said, New Orleans district attorney accidentally hires one of the escaped inmates as assistant DA. And, it's thankfully nothing severe has happened with the escape. But things like that, satire, even bring in a little bit of reality.
Jason Williams, a couple of his assistant DAs have fled town with their family. Worried about, revenge.
Yeah, I would too. That's scary. I mean, no matter what we think about the system, that's reality. And, if I was in that position, I would do the same. That is historically when you watch what happens when there is some jailbreak. Usually it's not 10 people, but when there is absolutely history that supports that, if you're in jail, you're thinking about why you're there. And man, if you get a chance to get out, I'm sure there's some freedom that you want, but there's also probably some revenge. So unfortunately, I understand completely why they fled.
Dan Reel's with us. It's Tuesday afternoon. The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Hey, Dan, obviously a lot of folks assuming, me too, that had to be inside help. With these 6 still on the loose at large, there's probably outside help now, but Orleans jail maintenance worker Sterling Williams was arrested today, helping these inmates escape. So not really a surprise. And I doubt Sterling Williams is the only one that's going to be arrested or fined, fired, penalized, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the details of that. I heard the story, obviously, but you never know what type of situation that man may have been in. He may have just proactively wanted to help, or maybe he was threatened. I don't know enough yet. I don't know if you heard the truth.
Yeah, he's claiming that, they threatened to shank him if he didn't help, but it's almost like he's acting like it was one instant that night that he helped. I think getting that toilet off the wall, chiseling through the wall, cutting out the rebar within the concrete wall is a prefabricated jail wall. I had not only Marlon Gusman on the program yesterday, but Rafael Goyeneche. Rafael Goyeneche was almost insinuating like power tools would almost have to be needed to get through that rebar. It's just and to get where they got. So
yeah, I'm definitely not suggesting that there wasn't active participation. Before I jump to that, I just want to hear a little more. I will tell you, for years I've been telling my wife, we talk about different cultural things that are going on, and we're very involved in the community. And the reality is, I know this from also running the casino, when we would have some of the employees from the jail come over and want jobs as security guards at our place. They would, you get benefits. You don't have to deal with convicts, and they're not making any money. I mean, that's the scary thing about that job. It's pretty thankless, and it's also very, very easy to see why corruption could be a situation that one of the individuals found themselves in. If you're not making a lot of money, that's a pretty thankless job. And I can tell you, I don't know exactly what they're getting right now, but I don't think it's above $20 an hour.
Sheriff Hudson, as of yesterday, today she seems to be taking responsibility, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday, the first 4 days, not taking responsibility, and worse, blaming others. Lack of funds, talking about these locks that are broken on the doors, which Marlon Gusman's like, there's so many sets of doors you have to go through. It's not like one. It isn't a key in a lock. It's someone sitting at a station that hits a button on a computer screen and it opens that door, and the other one can't open until that one's closed, and on and on and on. So I think the lock thing is a big cop out. And then even insinuated, wow, the timing of the escape during an election year where a sheriff's race going on. These races are pseudo active, Dan, but nothing's really started yet. Qualifying still going on, so the races really haven't started. As a matter of fact, Marlon Gusman said he might get in the race yesterday. So
as the world turns here, I did have, as I said, some hesitation posting blame on the gentleman that you were talking about. I have zero hesitation at placing blame here. This is unacceptable. There is zero part of it. I don't care if they found out that it did have to do with politics. 10 people busted out of a jail, and there is zero exceptions to be made for that. That is the responsibility, first and foremost, of the job, is keeping people contained. And so what I would say is the only outcome, and I try to think of it if I was running a business, the conversation already would have been had that you're done. If you want to hang on and try to help us connect the dots, that's fine. But as soon as this audit is complete, as soon as we finish catching the 6 individuals, Susan's gone, and there's just no bones about it. In the meantime, she should do that for the sake of the team, so they can start determining, if they haven't already.
I mean, she would have to do it. I'm sure there's some law she could get ousted by the legislature, but she would have to do it. She's an elected official, not appointed, not anointed.
No, I understand, but that's something that, you just can't. I don't care if you're appointed, elected, whatever it may be. You can't overcome this. And you also, it's one of the biggest, flaws or broken part of the system I've ever seen in my life.
No, there's a lot of that in New Orleans. And, if it rains a lot, the Sewage and Water Board gets exposed, a jailbreak, the sheriff's department and the jail gets exposed. I mean, we need like these physical things that punch us in the face for us to realize, hey, all these other city entities and agencies, they're all equally as dysfunction, if not worse. Dan, the political thing's scary because I don't believe it at all. But what Sheriff Hudson's doing with that deflection is she's essentially saying some of my political opponents running for the sheriff's race are colluding to commit a crime to make me look bad. That's just ridiculous.
It's beyond ridiculous. So, let's put a little bit of effort towards that, but not more than like, one person spending a couple hours just to make sure that there's nothing there. There is nothing there. That's just poor leadership. That's what people do. And I believe that the hours that went and passed between the time she found out and the rest of the world found out, it was coming up with things like it was a political opponent, or somebody did this, or I didn't get money for the locks. That's what the delay was. The delay was, what the hell am I going to say about this?
No, exactly. That's the big thing. Exactly. Hold that thought. We're coming right back. It's more of The Real Deal with Dan Real. Corey Johnson with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarque Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And
You'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it.
let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint. Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Welcome back. It's The Real Deal with Dan Real. Hey, Dan, I guess we're both in agreement with a few politicians now that Susan Hudson should resign. I don't think she will, but there's an election coming up in October, and Michelle Woodfork's in that race. A few other candidates. Marlon Gussman might get in that race. So she definitely has an uphill battle to retain that position, I would think, even in crazy New Orleans.
Listen, the gall of even thinking about running now is beyond anything I can comprehend.
That's a good point.
It's over. And so even though, as you mentioned, she's elected, every job, I think, within the contract, there are exceptions for extreme neglect or other things, intentional, problems that were caused as a result of being incompetent. And I think at some point, this is the kind of thing that happens. I mean, when you start adding up, not only did they escape, but it was 7.5 hours before anybody noticed, hours before someone was told. All of those things added up just mount upon what could be bad locks or, shorted on some funding. There's no excuse. There's not. And the one thing that I can't understand is there are people, and you forwarded, I think, today on X, there are people that are justifying or standing up for her. And I just don't understand how things like that happen.
No, I think a lot of folks are abandoning ship, though, especially a lot of liberal Democrats that would normally be on her side. So I think people are fed up. But you bring up a great point. She should not even be in the race. I'm not going to run again. I'm not going to run again. That
no,
really.
I think most people, what they would do is what listen, if I was in that situation, and I would hope to think that it never would happen, but if it did, I would have already announced it, and I would be spending all of the time that I have that they would allow me to try to make good and close this up.
No, this colossal screw up
to be done.
Yep. No, I'm not going to run again. I'm not focusing on election. I'm focused on fixing this problem I caused.
That's right. That's the only way this should end.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm calling it the Hudson Bill. It's House Bill 479 by Mandy Landry. It was about victims' rights, and Debbie Villio from Metairie added to it, essentially saying all jailers in Louisiana, if there's a jailbreak, if one inmate or multiple inmates escape, or even one, within, I think it's 10 minutes or immediately, you have to notify the police, the media, the victims, the public have to be notified immediately.
Yeah, I mean, the need for that is pretty amazing that we need to have something drawn up and get that approved.
Yep.
It was approved for the juvenile detention centers. They had to notify within 10 minutes.
Yep.
But they didn't have it for this. And again, I ran a business 24/7, 365, no locks on the front door in the middle of a downtown area. And we were prepared for a lot of really bad things. Knock on wood, for the 14 years I was there, we didn't need to deal with anything like this. But I could tell you it was a very frequent exercise to prepare for active shooter, for whatever it may be. And every single time, one of the key items with reaction is also notification. You've got to make sure that other people are alerted and aware, and anybody that might be possibly in danger, there is no hesitation to make sure that the communication happens. And that's why I'm even more just amazed at the way the timeline plays out here.
A few things that are good to see, how the governor's reacting proactively, all these law enforcement agencies involved, the mayor essentially missing in action, barely getting a peep out of LaToya Cantrell. And that's a good thing, because there's really, nothing she can do that adds to this in a positive way. She's not going to have some cutting edge idea or, hey, y'all weren't thinking about this, let's do that. Damn, good thing LaToya was in the room. She came up with that. There's absolutely nothing she can add. So it's fully handled. She would just be a detriment, a waste of time, a waste of, media conference conversation when you're trying to find somebody. So it's a good thing she's sort of missing in action. So it seems like everything that's possible. There's a real sense of urgency. Seems like people are very organized. 4 of the 10 are already captured, 6 remaining. They're going to get them. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I mean, one guy's got face tattoos that, where's he going to go? But I think, you brought up the mayor, and, a couple weeks ago, you and I were talking about the positives of the crime rate and what's going on. And if you remember, my point at that time was now is not the time to celebrate. It's time to, and you said it, double down. And that's true. And that's what the mayor should have been doing and should be doing. There's no Monday morning quarterbacking on this from me. I said it weeks ago. I believe it. When things are good, you never let your guard down. You continue to push forward. You never celebrate your success when it comes to this. You bring it up. You talk about improvements, but it's never done. Crime is never done. And you have to audit your jails. You have to walk through these places. And if I didn't always say that, I'd feel like a Monday morning quarterback. But if you are a leader and you are responsible for a community, a city, whatever it may be, that is a serious responsibility. And the last thing you do is be somebody that is MIA. And so you're right. I don't want her getting in the middle of anything because she can't fix it. But what a shame that we're living in a city that's the case for another, half a year.
How about the message left on the wall, like, even misspelling too, but too easy, LOL. These inmates are like laughing at the guards. They're laughing at the system. They like, this wasn't some spontaneous thing. This was planned, lots of help. The message to the deputies, to the guards is pretty telling.
I mean, they could have, even if they didn't break out, they could have been, fighting, staging wrestling matches. I mean, who's watching? Nobody's watching. These guys are just randomly walking around, getting through spaces where they can access, and they never should be anywhere near it. The guy is seen on video with his leg up against the wall, trying to open the door. I mean, again, I don't want to tie everything to my past, but that's usually what drives our opinions. I ran a place that had cameras everywhere. And I'll tell you, if I saw something like that, and that has nothing to do with gambling, if I saw somebody doing anything like that and our surveillance team did not catch it, that would have been, just cataclysmic for us. It would have been a defining moment that I would have had to leave town. And I just can't keep from going back to that. All of the things that had to happen for this to be the result is almost impossible to believe.
Well, when they're out of their cell and they're in that main area, the central gathering area, motion detectors should have gone off, even with no one watching, even with these civilians that, hey, we're going to go eat at the same time and just blow off monitoring. Marlon Gussman made a point too. Bed check at 10:30, next bed check at 8:30. It's like we had breakfast at 5:30 in the morning, and there were bed checks at night, overnight. So no excuse for the delay in finding out another screw up. Also, the violent criminals on the first floor, supposed to be on like the second, third floor, the upper floors of the jail. Just problem, screw up, mess up after another, after another, after another.
Yeah, this just isn't the impact of one night. This is what happens when we're short. Okay, so with your being short, you go to lunch, but no one will be watching the cameras. So that's okay. We're going to start accepting that. And then you're going to go on and you never fix the problem. And if you don't fix the problem, you're going to end up with situations like this where others say that it's, crazy that it happened. The reality is, if you backtrack, I can assure you, lack of hiring proper talent, like lack of having people in the right spots, lack of auditing your equipment and your tools. all of these things should be done. And I assure you, if you do the timeline, the things that were going on in there, this is just one of the many faults that were happening inside those four walls.
Dan Reel's with us. Dan, today the city council questioned Sheriff Susan Hudson. She physically showed up. As I mentioned earlier, first 4 days kind of in denial, or at the very least, projecting and kind of displacing, just blaming others, not taking responsibility. Today was different. There were procedural failures and missed notifications when she was asked about this escape and the delays in notification. So she acknowledged that and said she takes full accountability. So she at least is stepping up on day 5 and taking some responsibility.
Yeah, I don't find much in that. What are you going to do? She's sitting there in front of them, and there's just no way that she can do anything else. You can't continue this political thing or whatever else was going on. You eat the humble pie when you're in front of the city council, and you just try to get out of there.
No, that's a good point. Hey, more of The Real Deal with Dan Reel coming your way every Tuesday. We do it. Stick around. We got more, including some other topics with Dan. Hey, Art and Eyes is incredible on Magazine. I wear prescription glasses. If you wear prescription glasses, don't go to the mall. Don't go to some chain store. Go to Art and Eyes on Magazine. Google them. Art and Eyes on Magazine. Eyewear that's as unique as you. Google them. Art and Eyes on Magazine.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Don't forget you can catch the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on television every weekday afternoon, 4 to 5:30 on Cox Channel 4 TV and Spectrum Channel 333 television.
Hey, our Humane May fundraiser continues. A week from this Saturday is May 31st, but our final show of the month will be a week from this Friday. So 8 shows left. And the rest of today's show, we need to raise about $7,500. Yeah, we've only raised a little over $2,000. We need to hit that $10,000 goal. HumaneLA.org is the website. Let's make this Humane May successful. $5, $10, 20, 50, 100, whatever you can afford. HumaneLA.org. It's about saving animals. It's The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Dan Reel's with us every Tuesday afternoon in the 4 o'clock hour. Dan, any final thoughts on this? I'm assuming, it just kind of trickling down with these last 6. You might get 1 or 2 in the next day or 2. And then I think like 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 will be at large maybe for like another few days and could be found in like Houston or Atlanta, something like that.
Yeah, first of all, just let me say, put me down for $500 for your charity. I will go online when this is done, and I hope I could challenge a few listeners to go on and do the same. It's a great cause, Corey. So yeah, lock me up for $500. We'll help get to that number for you.
Wow.
Final thoughts on this is just, I just pray nobody gets hurt. You want to look back on it, and it's something that hopefully will tighten things up. Everything from the ankle brace monitoring to the quality of the locks to the speed of the trials. You hope you get a little bit of a boomerang effect here and come back and have some good come out of this. But let's find these 6 guys. Let's make sure nobody gets hurt. And then let's move on with somebody that's competent that could keep this from happening, anything even close to this ever again. That's just how I would close it out.
I saw some stuff on social media, some extremes in the city, kind of overlooking this and worried about like Jeff Landry and the state taking over the city, essentially, like the loss of city power. I mean, so far, I'm not into that. I like New Orleans to be autonomous and run on its own. But when the city's been this dysfunctional for this long, like arguably decades in some of these categories, I welcome, the state coming forward. And I'm not a big Jeff Landry fan, but the guy has made some positive moves, and I'm in agreement with a lot of what he's done as far as New Orleans is concerned.
Yeah, I welcome it as well until, when the city does show that we have the ability to function properly and fully, then you want the autonomy back. Until then, as a resident, I want the extra support coming in, no matter what the cause is. And I do believe that the city would support that. Ironically, there are a group of people that are impossible to move off of blaming anybody that's in power. And I just don't understand, that point of view. Don't you feel like you deserve better? Even if it's somebody from your neighborhood or your background or your race or your gender. This isn't, running a shoe store. This is running a major city.
Yeah.
And
unlike a casino, which better profit or you're gone, a city can run a deficit. A city can be run inefficiently. A city can go in the wrong direction. And that's what we have in New Orleans. And I think a lot of these naysayers, Dan, they are connected. Like the dysfunction works for them. They either have political friends or contracts, or they somehow profit in the present system. And if the system changes, they know they don't deliver any service or product, they'll be ousted. So I think that's where the naysayers are. I think that's where that comes from, those people.
Yeah, that's a pretty good take. I think, they're worrying about their own financials, and they make sure that anything to be different than the rest, I guess. But it's just I don't understand that type of thinking. That's all. I like to think that we hire the best. You root for them, you support them, you build up your community. Sounds a little cliche. I understand what's coming out of my mouth right now, but that's basic, fundamental leadership. And if you don't have it, you give up the right to keep it. And that's what Jeff Landry is doing. If everybody that's upset that he's coming in wants him to leave, let's put people in place that can do the job well. And then he can go back to Baton Rouge and focus on other things. Until then, he has every right to be in here, in my opinion.
Boy, I hope the state hustles up on this, totally different subject, this garbage truck that tipped over on the Carrollton I-10 entrance ramp, and it's blocking that ramp. It's blocking airline. I was by I-10 in Carrollton. You can't have that. They're saying it'll be at least a week before the truck is removed, maybe a month before the airline exit is reopened. That's just sort of unacceptable at Carrollton and I-10, Dan. That's like Causeway and I-10, Clearview and I-10, major intersections, hundreds of thousands of vehicles a day. You can't have that.
Yeah, I need to get over there. I haven't seen it yet.
You don't need to get over there. It's a mess.
Yeah, I'm not too far from there. So, if I'm going to talk about it, I'd like to be, well-versed on the reality. That's why I didn't talk about the facilities guy at the jail. This is one of those, I've seen the pictures, obviously. I've heard the stories. A week feels like it's crazy. If the airline side is damaged, that's different. Being able to remove a truck, 7 days seems a little bit crazy. We're auditing the entire jail in 7 days.
Yeah.
Can't move a truck.
No. And then they're saying it's leaning against the girder that could compromise the overpass, I'm guessing. But you drive by there, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just congestion on Carrollton, congestion on I-10. And yeah, this can't go on for, a month. Hey, Dan, always a pleasure. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Loved it, Corey. Thank you. Have a great one.
It's The Real Deal with Dan Real. Lots of opinions, lots of takes every Tuesday right here on the Neutral Ground. Corey Johnson with you. Coming right back. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm saying, hey, the 5 o'clock power hour is next. Don't move, people. Thank you, Blue Boy.
You're on the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Boy, there's a lot of money available, lots of tips coming in on these 6 jailbreakers, these violent criminals that are still at large. Day 5 of the jailbreak, 10 originally escaping. They've nabbed 4 of the 10, 6 still at large. But it is inevitable. They will be caught. Most folks guess at least, the law enforcement officials, and maybe this is just to get these guys to relax that aren't in the city, but they're saying, yeah, they still think these 6 are in New Orleans, somewhere in the city, haven't fled. I'm kind of thinking, that last one or two, like will be found in Houston or Atlanta or Nashville, but who knows? Just want them found. And yesterday. No, there's going to be arrests of family members and friends that have been helping these folks. The Orleans jail maintenance worker, arrested, accused of helping the inmates escape. Sterling Williams, 33 years old. 10 counts of principal to simple escape, like helping these 10 escape, and 1 count of malfeasance in office. I think there are going to be other heads rolling at the jail, obviously. Deputies in some cases, and these civilian monitors that weren't doing their job. And Susan Hudson with Marlon Gusman joined us on the program yesterday, said did not renew the contract with the security company. There's only a few of these in the country that handle jails, and you need to be connected with one, and they're not connected with any. So some cameras aren't working, some motion detectors aren't working, other security measures not working. No, major problems at the jail. The sheriff caught a lot of flack. First off, just blaming the locks. Like, not my fault. I've been complaining about these locks for years now. It's like, you've been sheriff for years. Maybe the priority is to fix the locks with the $15 million in reserves that the jail has. The locks would be important to be operating properly if that's true. Second, she said, the timing's interesting considering there's a sheriff's race going on, like the political climate. Is there an active sheriff's race or mayor's race? Yeah, there's a lot of elections in October. We're in May right now. It hadn't heated up or started yet. And coupled with, it's still qualifying. People can still jump in these races. So it isn't an active campaign season and all that. It is an election year, but just to insinuate that, literally saying, like, my opponents are colluding with criminals and employees at the jail and committing a crime and putting the public at harm for political gain. That's what the sheriff was insinuating. Now the sheriff, 5 days in, sitting face to face with the city council, asked about the overall escape. There were procedural failures. Asked about the late notifications, calling the NOPD, letting the public know, the media. There were missed notifications. So she's acknowledging these screw-ups, says she's taking full accountability. Dan Reel joined us last hour, every Tuesday, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. He made a great point. Sheriff Susan Hudson should not be running again. It's like an LBJ. I'm not going to seek the presidency. Not going to seek a second term. Sheriff Hudson should be like, I'm not running again. I will not be running for re-election. If she chooses not to resign, that's her deal. She was elected. But I'm not going to run again. I'm going to focus on fixing these problems. That would be the selfless, civic-minded, proper thing to do. Really, resigning immediately would be the proper thing to do. No one's going to miss Susan Hudson as sheriff if she resigns immediately. They'll put someone in that's an Orleans Parish sheriff deputy, some higher up that's been in that organization for decades and can go in and run the jail right away and run the sheriff's department right away. And then they'll have an election and there'll be a new sheriff. By the way, Marlon Gusman did join us yesterday, and Marlon Gusman says he might run for sheriff. He, of course, was the sheriff for 17 years before Susan Hudson pulled the upset. Now folks are just upset with the job she's doing. And Dan made another good point. What is she going to say in front of the city council? There's no way to run or hide from this. There were procedural failures and missed notifications. taking full accountability. Yeah, you have to. You're the sheriff. There were a lot of screw ups beyond that. The escape is the macro thing, lots of micro things, lots of things that led to the escape. And the over notification, delays, that's an after the fact thing of talking about, this in between all of that. Prisoners in the wrong floor, on the wrong floor, floor 1, they should have been on floor 2 or 3, where it's much more secure. How were folks taking a lunch break and no one monitoring? How were they outside their cell in the main central area making a lot of noise and running around for a while? Like, I don't know the exact time, but it wasn't 2 or 3 minutes. Could have been 10, 20 minutes. No motion detectors going off, no one monitoring that. Being able to remove a toilet from the wall, which is bolted into a prefabricated concrete wall full of rebarb, chiseling out all the concrete. It's like 2 feet thick, literally, like 2 feet thick. And then the photo, you see the rebarb, and then all of a sudden all the rebarb's cut out. Rafael Goyeneche was insinuating power tools may have been used. I mean, definitely some types of tools and saws and screwdrivers and pliers and drills and all kind of stuff. So lots of problems in between the escape and the delays in notifying the public. Before, during, after, lots of problems. The Hudson bill, I'm calling it the Hudson bill. It's House Bill 479, Mandy Landry, about victims' rights. Debbie Villio of Jefferson added an amendment to that bill that says jailers in Louisiana, in the juvenile detention center, the law is within 10 minutes of an escape. This is immediately, like less than 10 minutes, immediately notify the police, the victims, the media, the general public, immediately had to make that the law. I mentioned yesterday, when people do their job right, you don't have to make it a law. Channel 6 gets a tip at 9:53 on Friday morning that there was a jailbreak. At 9:55, they're calling the NOPD and the sheriff's office. So within 90 seconds, 120 seconds, 2 minutes, these journalists at WDSU Channel 6 are doing their job. 9:53, they get a tip. 9:55, they're calling the authorities to verify the tip. At the jail, Susan Hudson immediately, like Channel 6, immediately should have been calling the NOPD. We got 10 convicts, hardened criminals that should have never been on the first floor to begin with, but they escaped. No, so many mistakes. So many mistakes. At the very least, I'm not running again. I'm going to stick around and try to fix the problem. And at the most, ideally, I'm resigning as sheriff. No, this is what you get when it's learning on the fly, kiddie land. Been critical of this sheriff for years because she deserves it. She deserves it. So many gimmicks, so much BS and nonsense. Setting up friends and family, insane salaries, hiring her former roommate, pal, friend from the OIG's office. She was fired from that office for theft, proven to be true. Susan Hudson hires her the next day. Her old roommate, her old pal, makes her like Mr. Spock, number 2 in charge, 6-figure salary. Doing what? Who knows? Insane. It's like the mother and son she hired. What they did, who knows? They both made 6 figures. Just crazy stuff like that. Incompetence at the highest level. And now exposed. This is what happens when you don't do your job every day, every week, every month. And now it's years into that, and you get a 10 violent criminal jailbreak. And boy, what a black eye on the city of New Orleans. Not only making national news, making international news. Making international news. No, just sickening. Pay every day. This program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. home of Lamarck Ford, home of the #1 Lincoln dealership in the state, and Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. If you ever need a commercial truck, van, or SUV. Corey Johnson with you. Tuesday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour. Stick around.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint. Supply.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can anymore. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. The true voice of New Orleans, telling it like it is.
I'm very important.
Here's the mouth of the South, Corey Johnson.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of cloudy, partly sunny, or what? Sunny, partly cloudy? More clouds than sun. Getting into the high 80s now. Feels around 88 degrees. But there is a major wind coming out of the south, which is the Gulf, and it's a warm wind, but it's making things much more tolerable out there. It's not brutal. It's hot, but I'm telling you, it's not brutal. You can go outside and you're not going to like just sweat through your shirt. I'm looking forward to walking Tolley around 7:30 or so. He's anxious. He gets a meal in him. He wants to go about 6:45, 7 o'clock. I'm like, buddy, we got to chill. It's going to be so nice in about 30 minutes. Day 5, jailbreak. 6 still at large. 6 still at large. Ronald Surpass, the former NOPD chief, he said he was surprised that law enforcement, impressed with law enforcement nabbing 4 of the 10 so quickly, considering they had an 8-hour, window. Susan Hudson gave them 8 hours of escape time. Really more than that, 10. Escape happened a little after midnight, early Friday morning, and NOPD wasn't notified till about 10. And then other law enforcement, it trickled down. So a good 10 hours where these jokers got to change clothes, get some money, hook up with friends on the street, do whatever they have to do. No, the problem is as time goes on, Surpass was saying that these criminals will become more desperate and put up a fight, resisting getting caught, put innocent civilians in between them and law enforcement, that type of thing. Let's just hope these other criminals, these 6 remaining at large, are caught and quickly. An Orleans jail maintenance worker arrested, accused of helping the inmates escape. Sterling Williams, 33 years old. 10 counts of aiding in the simple escape, 1 for each prisoner, 1 count for each criminal, and 1 count of malfeasance in office. The city council questioned Sheriff Susan Hudson today. J.P. Morrell and Hudson went at it back and forth pretty good today. No, talking about the escape in general, the late notifications, the delays in notifying the NOPD. She admits there were procedural failures as far as the escape and missed notifications, late and delayed on giving the notifications to the police. She says she's fully accountable. It's all on her, and essentially apologized. No, I said it a few minutes ago. Ideally, hey, I'm not running again, but I'm going to stick around, and that isn't ideal. At the least, I'm not running again. I'm going to stick around and try to solve these problems. Ideally, resign right away, effective immediately. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. I picked up Lebanon's Cafe yesterday for lunch. I'm there like at least once a week with a to-go order, and at least once a week, usually on Sunday, with my mom, my brother, my sister, enjoying some of the finest Middle Eastern food anywhere. I got the chicken shawarma, a little tabbouleh on the side, a fried football kibbe. That's like a Lebanese meat pie. Fantastic. Shish kebab, lamb chops. Lebanon's Cafe, open daily, 11 a.m. till 9:30, 11 till 9:30. They're open throughout the day. Lebanon's Cafe, yummy. No, I'm half Syrian. My grandmother was my Situ, Arabic for grandmother. This stuff's authentic. And I think because they're near Tulane and Loyola, they want the students, so it's priced right. And it's big portions, and it's fresh. Lebanon's Cafe, yummy in one's tummy. Boy, I-10 at Carrollton, just avoid the area. I-10 at Carrollton is a mess. A garbage truck was coming down Carrollton, getting on I-10, going towards Metairie, that entrance coming around, and as it got up on the ramp, the truck tipped over and fell against the railing, but I guess the worst part, fell up against the airline overpass, and it's resting up against one of the girders, one of the steel supports. Now, this interstate stuff with these little pipes on the side, this is all original I-10 original Pontchartrain Expressway. This stuff dates back 50, 60 years, literally. So they're very nervous that this truck could have caused damage. They yanked the truck out. They feel maybe, I'm guessing, assuming that that steel girder could give way and the entire overpass could collapse. And I'm not talking about the main I-10 overpass, talking about the airline highway. I guess it would be if you're entering I-10 from airline. If you're entering I-10 from airline highway, coming on I-10, I guess you could look down to your left and see it. The dump truck is leaning against the pole of the iron steel support beam of the overpass. So the airline, I guess, entrance to I-10 from airline highway is shut down, and they're saying that overpass will be shut down at least a month. At least a month. And then they're saying the entrance ramp to I-10 West at Carrollton will be shut down at least for a week. That garbage truck will be there at least for a week, according to the state. And then when they remove it, I'm assuming there's no damage to that ramp. The Carrollton I-10 westbound ramp will be open, but the airline overpass above it will be closed for a month at least. That just, I don't see how that works. I really don't. Should be like an emergency crew in there. I mean, you got to make sure the overpass is secure. I get that. Bring in some temporary girders, whatever you need. Call Rubio Shoring. I'm not kidding you. Get that stabilized. And then yank the garbage truck out within the next 24 hours after you get that overpass safe and secure. I don't see like a major, any kind of dent or bulge in that girder. I'm not an engineer either. And I know the state's going to be better safe than sorry. Can't have it collapse. But a lot of that stuff, even though it's old, overbuilt. Like, because they didn't know how else to build it. Overbuilt like a brick you-know-what house. Now, you can't have that I-10 Carrollton westbound entrance ramp closed for a week. And you can't have the airline to I-10 overpass there, that entrance closed for a month. Avoid the I-10 Carrollton area. I was down there today, right by the Costco. And no, I'm not a Costco member. That's lucky they have that U-turn lane there because I used it today. The lane that you can cut into Costco. Because another 50 feet up, that dip under the I-10, under the train trellis, jam-packed with cars, bumper to bumper. And when I U-turned and I caught the light, I went through the light, the traffic was to Palmetto that quickly. I'm sure on the other side, probably all the way bumper to bumper down by like Banks, by Jesuit. And then I-10, getting on the I-10. Because folks were like, oh, wow, I can't go to Metairie. I have to go downtown now. Bumper to bumper. Folks getting all confused. So, yeah, major problems at Carrollton and I-10. And, I mean, I don't know the traffic count there. I can guarantee it's north of 100,000 vehicles a day on the I-10 and on Carrollton Avenue. A grand total of north of 100,000 vehicles. That intersection is like I-10 at Causeway, I-10 at Clearview. I mean, it's as big as it gets in the metro New Orleans area. Equal to any intersection, Carrollton at I-10, of vital importance. No, you just can't have that. Too long to wait, slowing commerce, costing people money. It's a mess. A mess. Got to speed that up, that fix. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning. There's a fix for you. Tired of your dry cleaner, want to experience the best? They've only been at it since 1940, before the United States got into World War II. 85 years of excellence, truly a New Orleans institution. They'll do you right like they've been doing me right for like 30 years. YoungsDryCleaning.com. YoungsDryCleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. I guess I'm saying this backwards, Miss Peaches. Norm from Cheers, actor George Wendt died. I guess I should say actor George Wendt, most famously known as Norm from Cheers, died. He was 76 years old. That seems young to me. That's like Jay Batt, the news Jay Batt passing away at 64. 64? I mean, I don't know. That just seems young. Same with George Wendt, 76. Sad. No, everybody knows Norm entering, the bar. A lot of stuff on social media with Norm chugging beer and with the, yep, all of it. Good stuff. Sad. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon. If you missed the 4:00 hour, we do it every Tuesday. Dan Reel, he was the former regional president of Harrah's Caesars, not only handling the New Orleans property, but other properties like Biloxi. He joins us. He's retired. He knows the news. He has opinions, kind of right-leaning. No, he joins us every Tuesday, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. He had some pretty insightful stuff last hour. Hey, we're coming right back. Don't move.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, love. More, more, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Channel 6 has a really good timeline of the jailbreak. Day 5, 6 still at large. 10 escape. A large reward. The reward money just keeps escalating. You're going to have a family member that's in the house, a cousin, a brother, sister, relative, whatever. That's going to be that's a lot of money. I never really liked Jimmy too much anyway. Going to go make the call, give the address. And then they're going to arrest folks that are aiding and abetting, that are harboring these fugitives, these violent criminals. 6 still at large. Inside help, that assumption proves to be true. Orleans jail maintenance worker Sterling Williams, 33 years old, arrested for assisting. Outside help's going on now. I mean, of the 4 captured, 1 was in a vacant house in New Orleans East. So, he could just know that house is vacant from past history, whatever, knew he could go there and feel safe. But of the 6 remaining, there has to be friends out on the street, family, friends helping them with clothing, money, food, take a shower, any of that. 766-9480. 766-9480. No, inside help proving to be true. Outside help. Sheriff Hudson in the first 4 days, not taking responsibility, just deflection. The locks. I've been complaining about these locks for years. It's like you have a $15 million reserve. Well, make sure the locks at the jail work right. Just excuse making. And then saying, boy, the timing of this escape in an election year with the sheriff's race, really sad. Just tells you where her perspective comes from, herself only. It's all about herself, protecting herself. It ain't about civic duty, job as the sheriff, bigger than her, accountability. It's none of that. Literally insinuating one of her political opponents got with people at the jail, got with these criminals, colluded with them to commit a major crime and put the public at danger so this person could win a race for sheriff against Susan Hudson, the incumbent? Really? So that was pretty sickening, just the denial, the lack of accountability, blaming others, ridiculous excuses. That lasted 4 days until she had to face the music today, sitting in front of the city council. And I'm not going to sit here and go, boy, the city council is just a bunch of fierce pit bulls that were attacking her. And, they represent New Orleans in a great way. You could argue this council's pretty weak. But it's, public. It's on TV. It's out there. The media's there. No, JP Morrell, they grilled her pretty good. And she, at least, Dan Reel last hour said it best. Well, it doesn't matter. It's past the point now. It doesn't matter. But at the very least, she is saying, procedure failures about the escape, misnotifications about the delays and letting the police and the public know, and full accountability. She blames it herself. The buck stops with her. But yeah, Dan's right from last hour. Who cares? I mean, at least you're doing the right thing now, and at least, but he's also like, man, you're in front of the council. What are you going to do? Continue the charade, blaming the locks, saying it's a political thing? LaToya Cantrell, when hiring a defense attorney a year ago and all the heat coming down, potential indictment, wanted to blame, first black female sheriff coming after me because I'm the first black female sheriff, because I'm female and because I'm black. They're coming after me, injecting sex and race into the equation. It's like, wow, the nerve of some people. And what's sad is when women or black folks are discriminated against, she ain't helping with the boy who cried wolf nonsense. And the same thing with Susan Hudson, just the excuse making and passing the buck on to someone else. It's just, it's nauseating. No, ideal situation, you resign. Ideal situation, resign. At the very least, I'm not running for re-election. I mean, my God, why would you even consider running for re-election unless, the problem with people like Susan Hudson, like LaToya Cantrell, this is their peak. This is like the best job they're ever going to have, the most money they're ever going to make. They're not coveted. They're not wanted. They're not special. No one's hiring them after their political career's over. That's just a fact. That's just how it is. This is America. People hire people because they pay those people and then they make more money themselves. So they don't mind paying that person. They want to pay that person because they're making more money themselves. When you're paying someone and you don't get anything out of it, they're not delivering anything. It's America. It's a big waste of time. No one's going to participate in that. So no, that's the problem. Not civic-minded, selfish. This is as good as it gets. Hard to walk from this job. And then Susan Hudson's even saying, with all my screw-ups and all these mistakes, this is New Orleans. A lot of people going to vote for me no matter what, just to be contrary, just to buck the system, just to irritate the righteous people. Seriously, there's some sick, demented people out there cut off their nose to spite their face for emotional reasons. No, do the right thing and resign. At the very least, I'm not running for re-election. I'm going to stick around and try to fix, the problems, right this wrong. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Hey, Latrim is hiring. Global manufacturing giant Latrim just grows and grows. This growth spurt's been going on for a few decades now. Go to their website, latrim.com, for a full listing of positions available. And it's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs available. Not like 2 or 3 job openings. And more like a career. Some Latrim employees have been there for decades. As fine a company to work for in Metro New Orleans as you'll find anywhere in the country. It's that high end. It's that prestigious. It's that solid. It's that great of an organization. If you're looking for a career change, latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Or maybe they've got something that lines right up with your career. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim is spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. No, incredible over there in Elmwood. They've got over 80 acres. It's like 90 acres in Elmwood. They've crossed over Jefferson Highway, Distributors Row, taken over like entire blocks, old warehouses, old buildings, retrofitting them, and just expanding their footprint because they are a New Orleans born and based company growing worldwide. Latrim.com. Yeah, avoid I-10 in Carrollton. What a mess. This garbage truck on Carrollton, I guess going, I-10 towards Metairie, I-10 West, gets on that entrance ramp, comes around the curve, and then, I don't know, top heavy, maybe too heavy of a load, tips over. Lucky the garbage truck doesn't flip off the rail and, tumble down below. The driver could have been killed. The only thing that maybe saved the driver is the truck fell up against the steel girder, the support for the airline entrance. Folks coming to I-10 from airline, you go over that bridge and come down to get on to I-10. The truck fell up against that. So Carrollton, westbound I-10 entrance is closed. You can go downtown at that Carrollton I-10 entrance. You can't go west towards Metairie, towards Lakefront, towards the cemeteries. You can't go in that direction. Garbage truck is taking up that ramp. Since it's leaning against the airline highway entrance to I-10, that bridge, that overpass is shut down. What Louisiana Department of Transportation Development folks are saying right now, DOTD, the garbage truck will be there for at least a week. The garbage truck will be there for at least a week. And it's not that they can't just yank the garbage truck out. I think they're worried about the integrity of the airline overpass with the truck leaning against the girder. Did it compromise it? We pull the truck out, does the overpass collapse? Or part of it collapse? So I think what they're going to do in the next week, that's why the truck's staying there for a week. They're going to bring in some type of temporary support, concrete, steel, some kind of support that's going to sit on the ground and sit underneath that bridge and then once that's there, they're going to pull the garbage truck out in the next week. That's what I'm guessing. But DOTD says that airline highway overpass will be closed at least for a month because I think they got to figure out if it's damaged, if that girder needs to be replaced, if that support they put in is just going to be temporary so they can remove the garbage truck. That's my thinking. So a week for the entrance ramp at Carrollton to I-10 West and a month for the airline entrance to I-10 East going downtown. And the traffic delays right now, I'm sure over the next few days, people are going to avoid the area, go around. But today, it was a mess. And I guarantee you right now, it's still a mess. Carrollton at I-10 by the Costco, avoid that area. Avoid that area. That's all I can say. I got caught in it for a second and hooked a big U-turn, got the hell out of Dodge. Hey, if you're on the causeway heading to the North Shore, fire in a to-go order at Treyen. Curbside delivery. They walk it right out to your car. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. It's Treyen in Mandeville. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Total maintenance, keep you TM-JC.com, no blue spots. TM-JC.com, no blue spots.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
I bet his smells like sandalwood.
Corey Johnson.
He's absolutely magnificent.
Got to keep this up till 6. Wow. Yep. Few more minutes till 6 on a Tuesday afternoon. Hey, our Humane May fundraiser's going on. HumaneLA.org is the website. Please donate and donate generously. We need to hit that $10,000 goal by the end of next week. And we're about 7,500 short right now. HumaneLA.org. Let's save some cats and dogs, you animal lovers. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto Total Maintenance Studios. Yeah, on radio, TV, live on YouTube. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube right now, live. After the Fact podcast. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It don't cost nothing. Yeah, every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto Total Maintenance Studio. Total Maintenance, honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. It's hot. If you need AC help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. Day 5 of the jailbreak. Finally, the sheriff coming clean, but pretty worthless. I mean, there's no going back. The sheriff can't fix the problem. The sheriff, it just proves to be incompetent. It's good that the sheriff's finally seeing the light and taking, accountability, holding herself responsible because she's the sheriff. But this sheriff should either resign or at the very least say, I'm not running again and I'm just going to try to fix this problem. But yeah, today in front of the council, asked about the escape. There were procedural failures. Yeah, multiple failures. A perfect storm of failures for 10 violent criminals to escape. A hardened jail that's modern from 2015, 2016. This isn't some old facility. What about not notifying the NOPD for hours after you knew they had escaped? Yep, there were procedural failures and missed notifications. She says takes full accountability, apologizes and takes full accountability. Took till day 5. Day 1, 2, and 3, and 4, it was the locks. The locks. I've been complaining about these locks, and it's just been ignored. You're the sheriff of a jail. I think the locks are a pretty important part of that. It's crazy. And then the worse than the lock blaming, this is the worst. If there's a sheriff's race going on, it's a political year. My political opponents, insinuating her political opponents, got with like employees at the jail, and they corroborated with felons, and we're going to set it up so you guys can escape to make the sheriff look bad and jeopardize the citizens of New Orleans with these violent criminals out on the street so the opponent can win the election. That was the insinuation. The locks and opponents during an election year. I had Marlon Gussman on the program yesterday talking about a lot of stuff. You should go to my YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson, and check out yesterday's program. About 30 minutes in, I had Marlon Gussman on. He was questioning if the locks are really a problem. Said he may run, and thought it was absolutely absurd to blame like a potential political opponent for sabotaging the jail and allowing 10 violent criminals to escape. Those folks, those politicians, they would be held accountable. They would be indicted. They would go to jail for criminal behavior. No, just take responsibility. And I guess 5 days in, she finally did when grilled by the city council. Boy, my neighbor across the street had some aluminum siding on his house. I did too. When I bought my house, it had aluminum siding on it. I took all the aluminum siding off, and it had wonderful Heart of Pine weatherboards underneath. My neighbor just did the same thing a few years after me, doing it right now. It's like, been wanting to do it, finally got some cash, all the aluminum sidings coming off, not a rotten weatherboard underneath. That Heart Pine's like cypress, like almost impervious to termites and rot. They're painting their house. I told them you got to go to Helm Paint and Decorating. New Orleanians, the colors you want, high quality paint, because paint ain't paint. Benjamin Moore, the best paint on the planet. Miss Peaches is shaking her head right now. Paint ain't paint. She knows. Helm Paint and Decorating, Benjamin Moore paint. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, do it once, do it right. They will steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating, because paint ain't paint. No, I'm using Benjamin Moore paint, lifetime guarantee. I'll never have to paint my house again. But because it's Helm and it's affordable, if I want to change the color in a few years, I can. But I'm telling you, my house looks like I painted it yesterday, and it's years later. No, love that high quality Benjamin Moore paint from Helm Paint and Decorating. Cloudy or partly sunny, finally getting into the 80s, but very windy, even though the wind's coming out of the south, out of the Gulf, kind of warm. But I'm expecting by dusk, things should be pretty nice when it's time to walk Mr. Tolley around the hood. We'll be back tomorrow. Wide Open Wednesday edition, straight up 4 o'clock. Hey, on Thursday, a reminder, another edition of Hillier and Hennigan. Right-leaning Quinn Hillier, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan will join us on Thursday for a full hour in the 5 o'clock hour. You want to stick around for that because those guys, they're native New Orleanians. They're both north of 60. I mean, both smart. Quinn went to Newman. Ellis went to Jesuit. Quinn went to Georgetown. Ellis went to Columbia. They've been doing this for years, national political pundits. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on with Ukraine, Israel, trade deals, the president. That's Thursday in the 5 o'clock powwow. First things first, Wide Open Wednesday, mañana. That's Blue Boy saying thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow at 4.
You're on the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.